Yo, welcome back to my channel. In this episode, we're going to replace this character that we made Sprint last time. We're going to replace this with our own character, which is going to take a little bit of work, y'all. So you might not have all this stuff, but I've come pre-prepared with it so you don't have to watch me download it. But I'll show you how to do it. Anyways, first things first is you have to get a character. And if you don't have a character, you can download one off the internet. There's a couple places. You can go to sketchfab.com. And here you can pick any character that you want. Like you see, I got Pokemon pulled up. I was working on a project with Pokemon. But you can search for, like, I don't know, downloadable characters. Just see how they got tons of them you can download. Or you can go to mixamo.com and log in here. You could sign up for free. Okay. And once you do log in, what you can do is you can come over here to characters. And you can choose any of these characters to download, which this is a very handy site. We're about to use this in a minute, regardless of how you get a character. Even if you have a character creation program, like me, I have a character creation program. But either way, once you have your character downloaded, what you need to do is come to mixamo.com, upload character, select your character from your file. For me, and you just put them up in here. Now, if they already have bones, then they'll be rigged perfectly. If they don't, then you're going to have to match the bones, and you'll let the auto rigger do it. It's basically you match the chin, the elbows, the wrist, the knees, and the groin. But once you have that, you'll have a character here, and you need to press download before you do anything else. So you'll download that character in the T-pose. Then you can go over here to animations. And what will happen is you can type in the animations that you'll need. Now, you're going to need a list of animations here. You're going to need an idle animation. You're going to need a jump animation. You're going to need a walk forward, walk right, walk left, walk backwards. Also, a run forward, run right, run left, run backwards. Those are the four variations, or pretty much there's more than four, but those are the animations that you need to download. So download all of those animations that I just said, and then you'll have a character that we can use. One important key thing to point out is when you're downloading your animations, make sure you download it without skin. By default, with skin will be clicked. Make sure you do without skin. Another thing to point out is when you're doing like a walking animation, make sure you get in place. You click the in place, because if not, he'll be walking like that, and we need it in place. If you did all of those steps that I just said correctly, then you'll have a character that we can bring into Unreal Engine. So in my blueprints folder, I'm going to actually create another folder, and I'm going to call this my character. And his name is going to be Serve, because he has to survive. Now, Serve, there's nothing here when I open that folder, of course, because I have to click and drag it in. So all you have to do is find your character wherever you saved it to. It should be in your downloads, real talk, because you downloaded it off of Mixamo. But for me, mine is going to be in my folder here. Take your character and drag it in. It should be the 3D object. Drag it straight in here. And on this screen, all you want to do is press import all. And it's going to import your character. It's going to import all this stuff here. For me, it will, but maybe not for you. But all it is just materials and stuff. The ones I'm looking for, the three right here. So what I usually do is I'll make a folder. So right click, new folder, and I'll call this one materials. Material or materials, it doesn't matter. Then all these materials and textures. So all I did was click one and then hold shift and click the last one. Highlight all of them and move them into that folder. Move here. All right, once they're there, now you can right click and do a new folder and put animations. Call this one animations. Animations. Okay. And your animations folder here is going to be blank, but this is where we're going to drag all those animations that you just downloaded. Just need these animations, put them into your animation folder that we just made. It's going to ask you which skeleton. Make sure you choose witness skeleton, the one that we just imported, and import all. And you'll see the animations pop up right when it loads. Now, what we have is a lot of animations here, and we need to make it so that our character is using those animations. But before we do anything, save. Down the bottom right, you'll see 17 unsaved for me, maybe more, but save. Cool. So save all of that stuff. Cool. Everything's saved. Where are we at? Everything's saved. Perfect. All right, now, in order to get that character to be this character, because when we press play right now, it's still not that same character. Like we're still using the robot. We don't want that. But before we even get to that, we need to make sure our character is fully set up with all those animations. So go back into your characters folder. Mine's called Serve. And right click. And what we need to do is go down to animation and create a blend space. And create it for your character skeleton. So mine was called Witness. Once you click your character skeleton, we can name it. I'm going to name mine Serve. Anim underscore. Not anim, sorry. Serve underscore BS for blend space. Now you can click inside of that. And on the left-hand side, the horizontal, we need to name this something, and we need to name the vertical something. So for the horizontal, we're going to name it direction. And the negative, we're going to, for the minimum, we're going to say negative 180. And for the maximum, 180. Then snap to grid. Now close horizontal, open up vertical. And we'll call this one speed. And since his max walk speed, we found out in the last one, was 500, let's turn it up to 500. And that's cool, snap to grid. Other than that, on the right-hand side, now all we have to do is plug the animations in. So you're going to see all your animations here, and if you hover over it, you'll see which one it is. So on the bottom row, we need to fill it all with the idle animation. So 1, 2, just click and drag it out there. 3, 4, and 5. Now on this middle row, which is about, some kind of speed, let's see where the speed is at. If it's going to 500, it'll be somewhere in between, like 250. Let's put the walk speed around there. So walking. And then that's in the middle one. Walk backwards should go on the outside. Then walk left and walk right. Walk left goes on the left-hand side. Walk right goes on the right-hand side. Perfect. Now we need to do the same thing for the running. So find the running, which mine was unarmed run forward, and put it right at the top. And for the backwards run, put it on, oops. If you do that, just click on it and delete it. For the backwards run, here's it. And put it right here on the corners. And then we need run left and run right. So right strafe on the right-hand side, left strafe on the left-hand side. Save. And now your blend space is finished. And you're almost done setting up your character. The last thing we have to do for our character is make an animation blueprint. So let's click in our character folder again, animation, and we'll go to animation blueprint this time. We need to choose which skeleton, which we're going to choose our character skeleton, witness. And I'm going to call it serve anim blueprint. So serve for his name, anim BP. Now inside of this, when you double click on it, you're going to see this. Now all we have to do is drag off of this and type in slot. And you're going to see slot, default slot. Click on that. And one more thing, drag off the slot and click state machine. So type in state machine and you get a new state machine. And one more time with that in case you missed it, state machine. It's right here at the top, state machine. Okay. Now the slot, we put this here because we might use animation montages, but we're not finished yet. So now we need to click inside of our state machine. So double click on that and you'll get to a screen like this. From this entry pin, drag off of it and add a state. This state is going to be called idle. Double click on the idle state. We just typed that in, by the way. Now you're going to see this. And his idle pose, we can get that from his animations folders. So open up your content browser, click on the folder animations, and here's the breathing idle. Click and drag that straight in here and plug them up. Now when you compile, he'll be breathing, but you're going to notice one thing right here, maybe soon. Yep, he stopped. So that's not what we want. In order for that not to happen, on the right hand side over here, there, if you scroll down under settings, playback rate and stuff, you'll see loop animation. Turn that on and then compile and save. And now he's never going to stop moving while he's doing the idle. Cool. So the next thing that we have to do is, from the idle state, is drag off this and add another state. In this state, we're going to call it move. This is our movement state to allow him to move. So you'll notice a little thing came up here. We'll handle that later, but let's click into the movement state. Same thing, you're going to notice this here. Instead of dragging off this time, what we're going to do is click on your content browser, go to your character folder, get the blend space, the BS that we just made. Click and drag that in. Once you connect the blend space pin to this output, then on the left-hand side, you need to make these variables. So the direction, we'll drag off of that and say promote to variable. Same thing with speed, promote to variable. Perfect. Compile and save. You'll notice that the direction and the speed are both variables down here. And you'll notice that there's a little error. Don't worry. Let's go back to our state machine. Cool. We need to handle this bubble here. So from idle to movement, what is the condition? This is where we say, drag off your variable speed, say get speed, and drag off of that and say greater than or equal to 1. And then hook that up. So if the speed is greater than or equal to 1, then the character will be able to move from their idle state. Now, we can drag a pin from move back to idle. And it'll give us another condition. So in order to go from move back to idle, we need the speed to be less than. So drag off speed, get speed, drag it off and say less than. Click on the less than, connect those pins, and we need to type in 1, less than 1. Bet. So now they'll be able to move, but almost, not quite. Last thing we need to do is, in this state machine thing, we need to see in the top, it says event graph. Let's click on that. And you're going to see event blueprint update animation and try get pawn owner. That's okay. Here's what we do with this. From try get pawn owner, drag off of this and type in third person character, because that's the character that we're going to replace. That's the one we're going to be using. So from now on, we'll probably refer to our character as our third person character, but we haven't replaced it yet. But that's what we're going to accomplish in this video. Compile and save, and you're going to see the little heartbeat start moving. All right, now what we need to do is drag off of try get pawn owner and say get velocity. And then also drag off of try get pawn owner, fuck, and say get actor rotation. I promise I don't have no stutter or nothing like that. That was crazy though. Anyways, now that you have the velocity and the actor rotation, drag off of either one of them. Like let's try the velocity and say calculate direction. You'll see it right here at the top. Plug in the yellow to the yellow and the blue to the blue. And now we've got our direction. So remember that variable that we had before? We can drag that in here. Instead of getting it this time, we can set it. We'll set this direction as the direction that we just calculated. Bow. And now we need to set the speed too. So we need to let the game know what is the speed. at any given moment. So in order to do that, we'll drag off of get velocity, which is, speed, and say get vector length. And you'll see it right here at the top of vector length. Drag the vector length into the speed, and now you've got speed. Compile and save. Now what we did not do is we did not add a jump. So let's go ahead and add a jump. But before we do that, let's add a new variable. So down here where it says plus sign variable, let's click that, and we'll call this falling. So this is going to let us know if the character is in the air or not. Are they falling or are they not? If they are falling, that means they're in the air. If they're not falling, they're not in the air. Click back on your state machine here. Now, from your movement state, you should be able to jump. You shouldn't, you can jump from your idle, and that's okay, but we're going to do it from the movement. So from move, drag off another pin and add a state, and we'll call it jump. Now, the condition here, we can double click on the condition first, and we'll take our variable falling and just plug it in. If they are falling, if falling is true, then they'll be able to jump. Cool. From jump back to movement, we need to make sure falling is false. So click on that condition, drag in falling, get falling, and type in just not Boolean. So basically it'll say, if falling is not true, then go back to the movement state. But before we continue, we need to come in here into the jump, and we need to add our jump animation. So go to your animation folder, get your jump animation, plug it in, and the same thing we did for the idle, come over here and loop animation. Perfect. Now, back in our event graph, let's set up our jump. So from our variables, drag off falling and say set. And the way we'll get our jump from our character is we'll do something like this. We'll say from the third person character pin, so as BP third person character, drag that off and say get character movement. And you're going to see it right here at the bottom. From there, we can say, drag off of that and say is falling, and just drag that into falling. And now if the character is falling, then it will register as falling. So now everything is saved. We can compile and save that. And now last step is we have to replace the mannequin. So go back to your blueprints folder here, and you're going to see that mannequin, BP third person character. Double click on that. Click on the viewport. You'll see event graph and viewport. Now here we can just click on the mannequin, and on the right hand side you'll see where it shows the skeletal mesh. We need to change that out for our own skeletal mesh. For me, mine's called witness. And you'll notice if they're done right, they fit right up in that capsule. If not, you can resize them so they can fit in that capsule. But the capsule is important because that's going to be their collision and whatnot. Anyways, right here where it says animation mode, it says use animation blueprint. We need the anim class to be the blueprint that we just made. So for me, mine is called serve anim blueprint or anim BP. And now you'll see that he's moving the exact way that I need him to move. Compile, save. Let's test it out. All right, so he's there instead of the mannequin, and he could jump. Let's test out the sprint. There goes the sprint. Okay. So what we're going to do in the next episode is we're going to tighten everything up. So we're going to make it so instead of him jogging, that he actually walks, and then he runs when you sprint. Also, if you look at him, his character looks a little bit jank. So we're going to go in and fix that too. But what you should have is a character right now that should be able to sprint, jump, move around, and that's pretty much all we've got. And that's good. That's what we wanted to accomplish. So hopefully you learned something. And look, in the next one, like I said, we'll tighten up some things. But that is all, y'all. Holla at y'all on the next one. Peace.
Run to the money, on the feet don't fail. The DA and the judge wanna do their best to jail. I done heard it all.